T minus 40 seconds. T minus 30 seconds. T minus 20 seconds. Ten, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
Own it, own it, own it, Kong. I own it. It did.
Women's Wrestling Talk, the #1 women's wrestling show on the planet. Women's Wrestling Talk, the #1 women's wrestling show on the planet.
I forgot what day it was. Was it Wednesday? It is Wednesday. I forgot again. Happy Wednesday, y'all. Welcome to WWT Live on Women's Wrestling Talk, the #1 women's wrestling show on the planet. We have an amazing show, a little bit of a slow start, but nothing better than amazing guests that can get all 30 of my windows to close. The man with the master plan, he has it all. There's some big things on the horizon. Welcome, Mr. Bonner. How are you doing?
I'm good, TK. How are you?
Good. I literally legitimately forgot twice in the span of 20 seconds. What day is it?
No, I understand. It's the last day of August, which is crazy in and of itself. Just a ton of things happening. So I completely get it. I get it. No worries.
Yeah, we were in that. Well, yeah, last quarter. If y'all didn't excel during the first couple, like make it happen now, because after Thanksgiving, it's a wrap. So
after Labor Day, it's a wrap. It's Labor Day, Halloween.
Goals.
Oh, for sure. For sure.
After Thanksgiving, if you're trying to make your 20 million between that and January 1st, it's probably hard. Yeah, it's not gonna happen. So
I agree.
FYI. Hey Bobby, what's up? Ron, what is up? Thank you guys for joining. So what do you have for us today?
Well, we must start in a way that I'm sure some folks might not like. I think it's okay, her name is escaping me, so it's probably not meant for me to say her name. That's good. So with that said, today we mark 2 years in acknowledging our tribal chief as the Universal Champion. It was literally 2 years ago yesterday, August the 30th, 2020, when Roman Reigns became the Universal Champion, defeating Bray Wyatt and Braun Strowman in a triple threat match. He has had a stranglehold on the Universal Championship since that point. He's actually had, and this is an astounding number, over 20 successful title defenses. Now, this is just, I can't even express how significant that is, because again, we're talking about WWE top tier level talent, and these matches that he had were not these little 5-minute throwaway matches. He was having 20 and 30-minute classics where he made people, dare I say, like Jey Uso, who became main event Uso thanks to Roman Reigns in this Universal title reign. When you think about the people who he's beaten in this reign, like, let's just go through a couple of them. You got Goldberg, Braun Strowman, Cesaro, Rey Mysterio, Finn Balor, Edge, Daniel Bryan, Kevin Owens, Brock Lesnar multiple times, John Cena, Seth Rollins, like the list of people he's beaten. This is a Hall of Fame worthy list at this particular point. And so we've not seen a reign this long in WWE since Hulk Hogan's first WWE reign, which went from 1984 to 1988. So it's been almost 40 years since we've seen a world champion in WWE hold the title this long. So today we salute the tribal chief, the head of the table, our undisputed WWE Universal Champion. He is Roman Reigns, who I believe will still be champion after this weekend.
So the question now is, and hey, JD, thanks for joining. The question now is,
well, he did. I'm sorry, JD. He beat leukemia before he was the champion. So this is just during this title reign.
I didn't even read the comment.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. JD. The question now is, which we kind of discussed, where do you think, if you got to 200, not 200, 2 years, excuse me.
Yeah.
Where do you think Triple H, what do you think Triple H has planned for Roman Reigns?
Well, it's interesting. I am now, and this might be troublesome to some, but I am equating this 2-year reign from Roman Reigns. It is nearly at Undertaker streak level. And here's why I say that. We're never going to see someone go 21 years undefeated at WrestleMania, but that's 21 matches. This guy has carried the company for 2 solid years. As a world champion, that's just not happening. So now, I think part of what we've seen happen is since WrestleMania, he's earned the right to pull his schedule back a bit. So he's done that. And to me, it's weird, but the rarer appearances make his appearances that much more special. You know, it was like Flair during the 80s when he was NWA champion. He didn't defend the title every week, you know, and so when he did defend the title, it became something special. I think we get some special matches coming from Roman. I don't think this reign ends this weekend simply because I don't think Drew McIntyre is that guy. The question is, who is that guy? And I think it's going to take us a while before we figure that out. Well, let me take that back. I think we might know who that guy is, or at least one of the 2 guys, but I don't know that it's time for that yet. In my opinion, one of the 2 guys right now is either Seth Rollins or Cody Rhodes.
To dethrone him?
Yes, to dethrone Roman. Seth is right now the only one who Roman really hasn't been able to get a clean pin on. And then, of course, you've got Cody, and that's the match that has yet to happen. But I think Triple H is going to continue to make this reign memorable until the proper time when Roman should lose a title, which I don't think he'll lose a title till 2023.
Yeah, I don't think so either. He's in that sweet spot where, you know, when there's one time where they were pushing him on us all the time, and now it's just like it's a really great spot that he's in. People really hate him, and people really love him. But I think there's more people who love the character than anything else. So I already gave my prediction of what I think is going to happen. I think it's all going to culminate on WrestleMania. And, you know, I think we might have to put the Rock Roman scenario in the box along with Sasha, Naomi, and Ric Flair, even though we are going to be talking about Ric Flair a little bit today. But anywho,
that box just keeps getting bigger.
I mean, it does, but you know, we can't. Sorry, y'all. We can't. It's all speculation. We don't know what's going to happen. We don't know what's going to happen with that Triple H. Yeah, I know. I'm getting a couple things, and we mentioned it before. Yeah, I don't know why my mic sounds muffled, and I don't want to restart my whole computer. So I apologize, guys. Yeah, I don't know. So here we are. Maybe I'll talk about it. What else do you have for us?
All right. Well, on top of that, speaking of WWE and staying there, you know, these changes with Triple H, we've all been wondering how they're really being received. We as fans seem to like them for the most part, But what would the network say? Well, USA seems to be extremely happy about the news, not just of Triple H taking over, but how it has resulted in ratings. So this week's episode of Raw pulled 2.2 million viewers. And here's the crazy part. The viewership has only increased since Triple H has taken over. And so this is what's even wilder. It's wilder to think that it has been years, and I do mean over 2 years, since the ratings at Monday Night Raw have been over 2 million viewers on a regular basis. There was a point where it had gotten down to about 1.5 million viewers, which is extremely low. So some really, really special things are happening. USA is very, very happy about the direction of the show. They feel like things are more natural. And so they're liking things. Now, this is actually very good for WWE. Of course, WWE is in the middle of this 5-year deal with USA that is worth about $1 billion. And so it really does pay off for USA to actually be happy about these ratings, because the ratings prior to this were not very good. Not very good at all. Especially, it's hard to justify paying $200 some odd million a year for a product that's barely bringing in 2 million viewers. But this is all changed thanks to Triple H. Further proof that what he is doing is actually working. It's not conjecture when the numbers speak positively.
Yeah, I mean, it's just like anything, like even though Triple H is the head of creative, he still has to answer to people, and there's no better way to answer to people than numbers, whether it's sales or numbers, whether it's viewers, because viewers equal sales and commercials. So they all want to see that. Thank you, JD. I figured out what the problem with my mic was. The top part wasn't plugged in. You know what? I should just give myself a.
Kane is screaming right now. Just know that Kane is somewhere screaming right now.
Yeah. So So thank you, JD. I appreciate that.
Your mic sounds nice. Oh, yes.
And then JD also says that doesn't surprise me. The product has been not watchable. It hasn't, but unfollowable for the last 5 years. Yeah, I definitely agree. And then Ron, from the backstage vignettes and the interviews to the ring action, we can very much see that Tripp's influence. So yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
It's like night and day, and
it is.
I think if you can maintain it, like it's one of those, it always sucks. You can apply that method to anything, sports, work, whatever. It's like, okay, you're doing great now because your predecessor and whatever it was, was not doing great. But now, can you maintain it?
That maintenance is always the question. But I think in this particular scenario, what's different about this is Triple H. It's like this is the job he's always wanted. He's been preparing for this moment his entire life. NXT got great practice for him. And really what NXT did in the black and gold era, and if we're honest, what we're starting to see with NXT again, it's got his fingerprints all over it. And to me, what I'm really glad about is I think when NXT was in its war with AEW, people were trying to blame Triple H, saying, hey, you're not being as creative because NXT's not winning the war. When in fairness, we're talking about a brand new product being AEW, that at that time was the only time you could watch AEW. There was no Rampage at that point. They weren't doing Dark. That was the only time you could get this brand new product. So naturally, people are going to want to see what the new product is going to do. So yeah, they blame Triple H, and then they move things to Tuesday night, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. The funny part is, now those same people, couple of years later, there is not, AEW's having a hard time pulling 1 million viewers on a regular basis, which was their flagship for a while. So I think all the while, Triple H has stayed the course, and he's known the way you win this is by telling really, really good stories, by
Right.
mixing things up so we don't get the same things. And that's the thing, so every week we've been getting a new person show up. This week, we didn't get a new person show up, but he threw enough diversity in there and enough surprises, that you were like, whoa, I got to see this. Whoa,
Right.
This week we're all talking about the Riddle interview. So there were all these things that are happening. We got another legend. He's got it figured out. And I think he has his hands on the pulse in a way that Vince McMahon did not. And obviously, we've been seeing that talk all around Twitter and the socials. I'm so glad that the numbers are proving it. And as they say, it's only up from here, or so the numbers say.
This is true. Welcome, K. Frederick Willis, for coming on. Anthony, thank you for joining us. JD, definitely agree. Imagine 6 months ago, somebody told you in August WWE would be getting their house in order and AEW would be the one struggling to keep course. Never would have thought.
Never would have imagined it. But so goes the world of wrestling, right? And so who knows? Who knows for sure.
Exciting times for sure. What else do we have?
So if I can, this is probably a good time to talk about NXT if we're up for a quick NXT conversation. NXT happened, of course, last night, and it was their go-home show for When Worlds Collide. And to me, I think we're starting to see this transition into the image of black and gold NXT, if last night was any indicator. So there were some great matches. Grayson Waller defeats Apollo Crews. Katana Chance and Caden Carter defeat Ivy Nile and Tatum Paxley. Good match there. A 6-person tag. Pretty Deadly and Lash Legend defeat Brooks Jensen, Josh Briggs, and Fallon Henley. Andre Chase defeated Charlie Dempsey. I thought that was a bit of an upset myself. Zoe Stark defeats Kiana James. And then you have Gallus defeating Diamond Mine in a 6-man challenge. But I think the highlights in this particular episode of NXT was not the matches, but it was the random guest appearances from former NXT and NXT UK champions, which I thought was just like, wow. So you had Finn Balor showing up. You had Tommaso Ciampa. You had Gunther. You even had Pete Dunne, a.k.a. Butch, actually talking like Pete Dunne. It's quite the moment, I must tell you. And so Rhea Ripley showed up. Shayna Baszler showed up. All of these folks showed up to really heighten the importance of NXT Worlds Collide. Plus, we got some more surprises. So the NXT Women's Tag Champions were basically saying, hey, NXT UK didn't have tag team champions on the women's side, so we're not on the card, but we want to fight. And then who would come out but NXT UK alumni, Nikki Ash and Doudrop, which if they would just fight as Piper Niven and Nikki Cross, it would make me extremely excited. But either way, this tag team is now going to fight for the NXT Women's Tag Team Championships on Worlds Collide, which I think is massive. It's huge. It's, I mean, a big deal. Now, the thing that's interesting to me is we've not really seen Doudrop and Nikki Ash get a win, but this could be the win that they need, and this could be the reboot that they need if they find themselves living in NXT for a little while. We've seen what it's done for several other careers, and I think it'd be a great move if they were able to do it. The other big piece of news that came out of this, which I think is telling, they ended the show with Carmelo Hayes basically saying, hey, how do you leave Carmelo Hayes off of Worlds Collide? And I got to tell you, how do you do that? So the question is, who in the world would show up to fight him? Well, it ends up being former North American and former Intercontinental Champion Ricochet. So we got Ricochet. I'm like, yo, this is crazy. We got Carmelo Hayes. They're going to be fighting. And that was the go-home image for this episode of NXT, which says a lot to me about what NXT believes is their star power. And their star power is found in Carmelo Hayes, not in Braun Breaker, who you would imagine would be ending the show. So I think it spoke volumes to what Worlds Collide is going to look like. Personally, of all of the 3 wrestling events happening this weekend, Worlds Collide has me the most.
Excuse me.
Ooh, bless you. It's all right.
Thank
Worlds
you.
Collide has me the most excited because I think we're going to see some really, really incredible wrestling on this particular card with a lot at stake as well, from the women's title match, the tag title matches. Pretty much every title is on the line. Titles are going to be unified. It's going to be a big, big night for Worlds Collide happening this Sunday right before All Out.
Now there's some comments here. Let's go to Ron. He was saying that can we get NXT Shayna back on the main roster, which I think would be great. However, because they haven't really been doing much with her, do you think Shayna should go back to NXT and kind of restart who Shayna is again? I know even though Triple H is over everything, it's up to this point, you know, sans Triple H, like she hasn't been doing too well. So maybe she needs some type of reboot. What do you think?
The reboot would be interesting. I think it's all going to depend on what happens this weekend. If she ends up winning the women's championship, then I think obviously, you know, she'd be spending time on SmackDown. If not, I wrestle with whether or not she needs to go back to NXT or she needs to just kind of rip a hole through all of the women's roster on SmackDown. And the reason I say that is because I'm not sure if the competition in the NXT women's roster would be challenging enough for Shayna at this particular point in her career, particularly if that version of Shayna shows up again. Now, again, this all begs to ask the question, how does Shayna get through this particular weekend? You know, it seems like Shayna should be a shoo-in, but after Ronda lost, could Shayna be the one to finally crack the code, dare I say, of Liv Morgan? Not that Liv Morgan is super tough, but she seems to find a way to leave with the championship one way or the other. So I think the answer to that NXT Shayna question is all dependent upon what happens Saturday at that pay-per-view, at the premium live event.
And then we have Anthony with also a good question as far as why AEW is not doing as well. I blame the whole situation with Britt Baker and Thunder Rosa on Tony showing favoritism to Britt, allow her to say whatever she wants on a promo without correcting her and filtering promos. Do you think how that all played out might be one of the reasons why AEW is faltering? And of course, we see how the women's division is doing in AEW compared to the men's, but do you think that's one of the reasons, or do you think that's just a natural progression of a business?
I think AEW, I don't think the challenges in AEW all hinge on that one situation. I think there are multiple things. I remember in a documentary done about WCW a while ago, I don't quote Hulk Hogan very often, but he did say something smart. Hogan said, you can do one thing wrong and it's okay. But when you start doing multiple things wrong, it's going to eventually catch up to you. And I think what we're seeing in AEW, it's not just a Britt Baker issue. It's the entire women's division coupled with a lack of consistency with how people in general are booked in AEW. So for instance, you'll have things happen and then we forget about them. Another thing, the interim championships, right? Why do we have interim championships? In every other promotion, if you're unable to defend, you relinquish the title, somebody else wins, and now when you come back, we get to watch you chase it again. But the interim championship now creates confusion because the person that's won the interim title isn't even viewed as the real champion, though they're doing the work of the real champion. So it's one of the reasons why Moxley was super mad when you would call him. How do you call this man interim champion when he just beat Hiroshi Tanahashi? He's beating everybody else you put in front of him. Oh, and now Punk comes back and he comes back as the champ. All hail. Like, no, you know? So, and we've seen this interim situation before, and it doesn't make sense, right? If you're going to be out for an extended period of time, okay. But if you're gone for 2 weeks, we don't need an interim champion. That's what happened with the TNT title. Cody was gone for 2 weeks and we had an interim champion. Like, those are the things that don't make sense. You know, some of the booking, so I think there's a lot of things that are happening in AEW that aren't making sense. And the other big thing is this: they are growing so fast, but they don't have the kind of infrastructure to support that level of growth. So how you begin as a startup, and TK, you know this, how you begin as a startup is not necessarily how you get to continue when your company has expanded by a couple of hundred people. And so in this case, a company that started off with primarily 2 championships, a world title, 3, a world title, a tag title, and women's titles, now have multiple championships in the men's and women's divisions. And all they're doing is adding more. They've added 2 new championships in the last month. Well, who's fighting for them, right? And when you have about 100 people on your roster and 3 hours of television to go around, somebody is always going to be sitting and catering. And you keep adding high-profile people. I think it was this time last year at All Out, well, even right before All Out, summer last year, they added Punk. And then at All Out, they added Adam Cole and Bryan Danielson and Ruby Soho, right? 4 major players in 2 weeks. And then they kept adding people. So what does that do to the people who've been there from day one, who've been scratching and clawing for, you know, all important TV time? So there's a lot of things that are happening that they're going to have to get fixed soon, or else we're going to see more MJFs happen.
I love that explanation. And in that explanation, we have a lot of people, a lot of comments. Shout to Sammy, who's one of our writers. He says, just going back to the tag team titles, why not have Raquel and Leah unify both women's tag team titles? And then Sammy, also, I'm calling corporate Carmelo beats Ricochet. Honestly, if Ricochet wins, I think Melo comes up to SmackDown. JD also with the interesting comment, UFC does interim all the time, because I kind of feel like this is more a personal thing with that. If I were the champion and I got injured, I don't want to lose it. I'd rather, you know, have an interim, and then it depends on how they write the story. And how long that person's out for. So I believe Thunder Rosa, whoever is going to take over for her while she's injured, they're the interim champion, and she still has to chase depending on how they write that in, opposed to, oh, I'm healed, I'm back on the roster, and now there's no place. It almost allows for an automatic storyline. So it really just depends on who's behind the scenes writing.
Here's the other part of this that becomes unclear. There used to be a period where a champion would be stripped of a title if they couldn't defend in a certain period of time, right? That period of time is extremely unclear in AEW. So, for instance, the industry average is 30 days. New Japan does it 6 months. WWE's not even super clear on what that is right now. So kind of the idea is if you're going to be out for an extended period of time, then it makes sense for you to drop the belt. If you're going to be out, like Punk was out for a month and a half, 2 months, in theory, that's really not long enough for you to say we need a new champion. You know, we had one pay-per-view for AEW in that whole period of time, which was the Forbidden Door pay-per-view. That's the only one we've had. So why the rush for a new champion or an interim champion? Like I said, Cody was out for 2 or 3 weeks with COVID. That was it. You know, we don't know how long Thunder Rosa is going to be out. So I just think that they've got to be able to put some rules in to make it make sense. If it's consistent and it makes sense, we can go with it. But it just feels like it's just random. And if Thunder Rosa is back in a month, we got a problem. Not that I don't want her back, but I'm just like, do you have to take the title if she's only out for a month?
Right. But with injuries like that, you never know. I think with Cody, he's only supposed to be out for a certain period of time, and that got extended. So yeah, I don't think we could put that on the athlete the timing part. But
No,
I do agree
I
with
think
you
the
having
company
like knowing.
know that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, I don't blame the athlete. The company should be aware, okay, the early report says they're going to be out 6 months. Okay, we got to take the title off of you.
Right.
Okay, we believe we're going to be out for a month. I think we can work things around 1 month.
Right.
So they've not established that, or at least told us, so we don't know. And that's why this looks so weird.
Ooh, speaking of weird.
What an intro.
We have Kay McCoy in the building.
Gang out here. Sorry, I was trying to figure out how to pay for the potential OnlyFans between Matt Riddle and his girl. So we're gonna get to that later. Sorry,
I have so many comments about that. Oh,
That is
Daniela
a
Petro,
story
yeah,
with your
yeah.
name all over it.
Yeah, we're gonna get. Well, it's gonna
I'm
have
not
my
even
credit
touching
card on there too. Did you guys want to know how I was gonna pay for the potential Matt Riddle Daniela Petro OnlyFans?
I'm gonna guess
How?
it's your AEW card.
Not this time. That
Not
is
this
for
time.
my Paige Van Zant OnlyFans. I paid with that using that one. For this Riddle one, of course, I'm going to use my WWE Superstar credit card, baby. Yeah, and then I'm gonna call and report for fraud to get the money back.
Wow.
Let's be realistic for a minute.
That's right. Thank you. Woo! Out here. Listen, speaking of people alienating their OnlyFans. It's hot today. It's hot today. I got my. We want the smoke on because California's on fire right now. There's a bunch of fires everywhere.
Oh, no.
Oh
it's
yeah.
pretty
That's
ridiculous.
normal. That's every summer.
Oh yeah. That's just Wednesday. That's just the Wednesday in LA. But speaking of alienating their OnlyFans, let's talk about Impact Wrestling for a quick second, okay? Impact Wrestling, TNA, speaking of OnlyFans, TNA, whatever you want to call it, they do this situation where they take one step forward and like 1,100 steps backwards, okay? So for all the praise we see with the beef with Josh Alexander and Moose, and Josh Alexander overcoming and becoming Impact World Champion, to see them kind of, catapulting and being the leader of the Forbidden Door and seeing Mickie James appear as Impact Knockouts champion at the Royal Rumble, we get situations like this involving wrestler Lady Frost. Now, Lady Frost has had a very interesting time in professional wrestling from her days in WWE, where they said some very harsh things about her, which turns out really doesn't matter because at any age she's at, she can still go, to being in AEW, to NWA, to debuting in Impact Wrestling about this time last year, where she answered the open challenge for then Knockouts champion Deonna Purrazzo. Since then, she's been up and down the card. We were fortunate, TK, to see her doing some tapings, doing Bound for Glory weekend. And she has requested her release. She requested her release 2 months ago, nearly 3 months now that we're going into September. Back in June, we last seen her in Impact in April. She was involved in, I think, like a Knockouts tag title match. I think it was like a triple threat at the Multiverse of Matches during WrestleMania weekend. She later revealed that she had an injury later that April, and we haven't seen her on Impact Wrestling since. She's just sitting on the shelf, and she has requested her release because as she sits on the shelf, she ain't being paid, y'all. Lady Frost does not have a salaried contract with Impact Wrestling. As a matter of fact, she has a pay per appearance deal. Okay. So basically, whenever she's on TV, that's when she gets paid, and she's not being used. And it's kind of like the deal that Larry D and AC Romero had back in the day. But
there are a lot of people who have that deal right now with
exactly with Impact,
not the greatest.
Exactly.
Not just Impact, other promotions as well.
Exactly. We see the AEW. You see with a lot of companies that, hey, you get paid if you're on TV. You get paid what you weigh. But when you sit on the shelf and not being able to be used for anything, it's just like, well, release me so I can fly elsewhere and appear on TV and make money elsewhere. She's even taken it out beyond Impact Wrestling and has talked directly to Anthem's president and CEO, Leonard Asper. Of course, Anthem is the company that owns Impact Wrestling as well as Access Television, which is the home for Impact Wrestling Television. So she actually had a very interesting tweet, TK, that she spoke about her frustration with the company. And it says that, as you can see, it costs nothing but my sanity. She says that she's thankful for the family at home and all of the fans and friends she's made in wrestling. But, she's struggling, but she was staying strong. So I hope that, Scott D'Amore or anybody at Impact can really hear what she's saying, because there's no point of keeping them. If you're not using her and she is not going to factor into any plans.
And she wants to be released too.
And she wants to be released. She's been active since June. And obviously you guys haven't told her anything that post-injury or post any type of thing, her return that you have for her. Because she's had some wrestling indie dates as well in July and whatnot. But if you're not going to do anything for her, just release her. Hashtag thaw out Lady Frost. Defrost. Do something and let her go elsewhere to do anything. You took my thing, JD Smith. I'm
going to give Kane and JD this. This is for both of you.
That is so funny that just came up.
JD. Now you're
yes. We're here, JD Smith. Thank you, brother. Because again, you got her, stuck on the shelf, frozen on the shelf, and again, her income is frozen from not being able to do anything else. So thaw out Lady Frost and let her go as she please before it gets really just kind of crazy in that, because the people's talking, the Twitch streets are talking. They're, saying that, hey man, like, let's get her out. I mean, she was in the first ever women's Ultimate X match and like killed it, like did her thing. So, we want to see her either used on Impact or honor her release and just, honor her request and release her. We see it with AEW with Jonathan Gresham. If people say they want to be released, then if they're not using you, it literally costs you nothing to just let them fly away.
And then we have Nikki in the chat, our senior writer. We don't know if they didn't have anything for her, though. She might not have liked what was pitched. So the story is kind of vague. It is kind of vague. It's interesting that we did see the story. I think it was last week that it dropped, where she was requesting for the release. And she doesn't like the story, and she's getting paid per appearance, and she wants to be released from the company. Because I wonder what the whole contract is, because you also have a lot of other wrestlers who wrestle for other places. So if she's injured and she can't wrestle for other places because she is injured, then, with the, like, why would she necessarily want a release if she can't work for anyone else anyway? And with Impact, if she's too injured for Impact, but she can do indie promotions, if she's getting paid per appearance, and that means that she could still wrestle for indie promotions, unless it was a promotion that wanted exclusivity. Like, there's certain promotions that I know of course, excluding WWE at the time. We don't know, because Triple H is at the helm right now, unless it's a promotion that wants her to be exclusive. That's the thing. So there's a lot of like Nikki was saying, the story is kind of vague, but there are some missing pieces there that just are not really adding up for a company like Impact. WWE, we've seen that happen all the time, where people ask for releases and they may or may not get released, just depending on how WWE feels at that time. Before Triple H, we can just say like before Triple T. So
yeah, just don't be cold as ice towards Lady Frost, okay? She's done some indie dates here and there, but again, if Impact's not going to use her for anything, just to have her sit on the shelf for 2 years and not doing anything, there's no point. So hopefully they could come to something where we see her back on TV and involved in a major feud. But again, I'm the thought of, because it's like any job, right? Any job you have. I understand if you're under a contract and whatnot, but she's not even under a salaried contract. It's almost like freelancing with a promise to appear type of situation. Because Lord knows if she no called, no showed, she'll be fired. So it's one of those situations where if she's not being used, just let her go. Let her go. Obviously, you have no plans for her. You have no use for her. So just let her go.
That we know of. There's a lot of things that we don't know.
I think that would have been mentioned, and I think with Lady Frost's career, with the way it's been, I don't see her turning down a dope storyline or a dope angle that would have her on TV more, even if she was to lose. You know what I mean? I just can't foresee that. So I just don't think there was anything for her. So she wanted to go, and you could tell by the tweet that anytime they start doing like the cryptic tweets and saying things. you know, like Shorty going through it. You know what I mean? Like all she wants to do is wrestle. It seems like, and Impact is kind of having an impact on her mental health, if you will. So we're definitely going to keep you guys updated on that. I do it now.
It's so crazy with the cryptic tweets though, because people do the cryptic tweets and then like I'd send text like, "You good?" Well, why do you ask that, bro? You just
Right.
did you just not put that tweet out? Like that's
the whole manifesto, bro. What do you mean? You know,
so Nikki in the chat saying, and I love your comments today, guys. Well, last couple weeks, I'm lying. You guys have been great.
Active. Active.
Yeah, this is why it's good to wait it out until we get all the facts. I'm sure Impact will make a statement. I definitely.
First of all, Nikki, we're wrestling fans. Why will we wait for anything to come out? We're gonna speculate and create our own storylines. Come on.
And that's why you're also in the chat, Nikki, to also let people know this is what, because Nikki, for you guys who don't know, is our senior writer. Let people know this is all speculation. We have no idea. And again, as we see the people that we have in the box that will not be named, we just don't know. So if this story continues, we'll probably put Lady Frost in the box as well, and we will just wait until there's a statement, or there never may be a statement, and there'll be that one interview 2 years later. So
we'll put Lady Frost in the sink to thaw out before our mamas yell at us and ask her why we.
Yeah, he earned that one too.
Yeah, you know.
What else do you have for us?
Y'all cold out here, man. Speaking of cooling out, our guy Matt Riddle might be one of the coolest people or interesting people to ever exist, as we spoke about earlier. Some conversations leaked, if you will, about Matt Riddle's personal life. I feel like we know a lot about Riddle. Like, we just know too much about him against our wills, right? We know a lot about his personal life that we didn't really want to know what's going on. He's been in a couple of scandals or whatnot, but this is a new one involving Daniela Petro. She tagged a bunch of people multiple times, but the tweet that got it to look at was when she tagged WWE, Triple H, Shane McMahon, and for some odd reason, Alexa Bliss and Doudrop as well. They also got tagged. I'm shocked that Lily didn't get tagged as well, but I guess, you know, Lily doesn't have an active Twitter account at the moment. And the screenshot was on there. I don't know if we're going to post it or not, but I'm going to
pull it up.
Are you gonna pull it out? Okay, but it was very like thorough, and Riddle said it with his whole chest, bro. Like, I mean, he was high on a lot of things, including horniness. He was very high on horniness because he says that I want to F you in front of people early in the day, then at night I want to do some coke and Molly and have you F me in front of people. Or in a perfect scenario, we get another hot guy. Well, let me do this with Riddle. With a big cock, and you share it with me. Honestly, babe, I do love you, but there's certain things I need to be in a relationship. Need and I like how he like drops the F-bomb, but he edits cock. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's kind of situations, but you guys can see it up there before we get kicked out of the stream. But it's very explicit, and it's one of those things that you read it and you look at it, and it's like, damn, that cray. But also, it's like, what did you expect from Riddle? Like, were you expecting Bible verses? And
yeah, but here's the thing.
If Shorty's plan really works.
that's the thing. Here is the problem that I think we are all we're all in when we're sending text messages, right? They're all receipts, and you know, you're thinking that this is between two people, and whether you're upset with the person or not, there should be some type of, like, the fact that she did that and tagged all these people, it's like it was something illegal, but it's just he's a freak. Like, it was something that we didn't need to know, and it wasn't something. It was just one of those things that if there's like a boyfriend code or a girlfriend code, there's a relationship code. There's an ex-relationship code that if there's nothing crazy that's happened, then either you delete everything, or it's just like, okay, like, and you live your life. But to go up there and almost ruin somebody's life.
Yeah, I mean, I think the only thing that we get out of this that Matt Riddle enjoys triple threats inside and outside of the ring. It's not a lie. It's not a lie. Matt Riddle enjoys being in a tag team inside and outside of the ring. He enjoys tag teaming. Okay, one more. Okay. Riddle me this, riddle me that. Who's afraid of horny text Matt?
I'm surprised Nikki hasn't said anything at the moment.
Nikki has left in disgust, clearly. Nikki has left in disgust, and or Nikki texted him.
Wow.
Yes! Yes!
Wow.
Yes!
Nikki, you have officially crossed over to the dark side. I don't know if I can post your comments anymore.
Come on.
Shocking.
Yes.
Shocking.
Yes.
Wow.
Wow.
Thank you.
Wow. Yeah,
Wow.
me and Gerard's like, wait, what? What's
Wow.
going on?
Right. Marsh. I mean, this is essentially Austin shaking McMahon's hand at the end of WrestleMania 17.
This is wow.
Or was it 18? Which it was one of them.
Yeah, it was 17.
Screenshotted,
Oh
screen
my
recorded,
God.
all of that. Yeah.
All
But
of this
Matt Riddle
because
is
Riddle
mega
has his
horny.
name back.
And he got his first name back. We can call
Got
him
his
Matt
name back.
again. And I think he was just celebrating being able to be called Matt Riddle again by went to lay Shorty on the mat and do some things to her. I can't wait for Seth Rollins to bring this up in a promo as well, just like he did with the kids. I mean, it's going to be amazing. By the way, Fuego feud. Seth Rollins has been having some incredible non-title feuds that have been mattering like no other between Cody and now with Riddle. So we're going to see what goes down. I don't expect any type of situation, any type of blowback against Riddle because he didn't really violate anything. I just really enjoy that he almost anticipates eventually being fired by WWE because his whole thing was that, you know, this is his backup plan to do porn. So he was like, you know, he spoke in the text that
was the interesting part.
He'll split profits. He was like, hey, just in case I'm out of here, you know, this is my next step. Not going to the indies, not even looking at AEW or Impact or anything, just straight to OnlyFans, do not pass go.
I mean, I could see him doing that. We have Ty in the chat saying Matt Riddle wanted the best of both worlds. I think I'm just now going to just give people in the chat.
Yes.
Riddle really wanted the real when worlds collide is Riddle's wrestling life and his personal life. That's the real when worlds collide on there. And Riddle hasn't really even been paying any mind because he posted a very interesting tweet about what he was doing this morning and who he was with. We're going to get that pulled up and look at the pictures or look at the people in this picture who you spot. And there's one guy in there that actually made people almost forget about Riddle's horniness due to his own interesting, illegal horniness, if you will, because you can spot my guy Shinsuke, you see Karrion Kross. I think that is Cameron Grimes right there. But in the way back, the gentleman on, stage left, you see Marty Scurll, who was once in Bullet Club. He's kind of been exiled, excommunicated due to the hashtag speaking out movement. About a year and a half ago, if you will, you see him in there. So it was like, oh, all right. It's kind of hanging out with that situation. But this when he was booking with ROH, the original ROH at the time he was released, and we haven't really seen him since like 2020 in the ring, the 2021 is. So it was kind of interesting to see where he was hanging out. Oh, they in process, bro. I'm not wavy yet. It's kind of like a lake. It's like lake-ish. It's not really waves. It's kind of like a splash. Is there? So we just live in the gimmicks. Okay. Just for that, I'm going to add like a Newport in the back of my ear. You know what I'm saying? Like a Newport. And I'm going to ask, where your mama at, boy? Where your mama at? Where your mama hanging out here? I'm trying to become the third street prophet, essentially. So.
What else do you have for us?
Well, if you guys want to hear our guy, not our guy, but speaking of allegations, Velveteen Dream, who every time I think about Velveteen Dream, I'm just so disappointed. It's been a nightmare for Velveteen Dream since his release. He's had just bad luck. Man-made stream, it's an ocean front. I enjoyed that.
I got to retire the button. Like,
yeah. I mean, it's getting some use today. Listen, Velveteen Dream was arrested like twice in August. Booked twice in the same week, including on battery and trespassing charges, as well as drug charges. He was actually bailed out by Ashanti, the Adonis of Hit Row. So maybe, put my guy on a feature or something to get his money up, or maybe rap about it. But he was recently detained back on Friday, August 26th, down in Orlando for possession of drug paraphernalia and on an out-of-county warrant. If you check the database, you could see that he was arrested for that. He was also arrested for cocaine possession and destroying evidence.
Jesus.
He had a court appearance today. We're going to keep you guys updated on that. The original arraignment was scheduled for September 28th, but Velveteen Dream's lawyer submitted a written plea of not guilty for the latest charges and waived that arraignment. So he was released on $1,200 cash bond on the 22nd, but of course ended up being picked back up on the 26th for some more things. So it's unfortunate because he tweeted or talked about, he teased a possible return,
right.
But indeed, yes,
week, I think.
Yeah, that was just a dream, or in Velveteen Dream's place, because they got him in trouble in the first place, a wet dream for my guy, because that's what kind of got him in the situation, wilding out in these streets. So yeah. Well, his name was said on the docket. That's where his name was set at. It was like Patrick Clark to step up here. But it probably has to be like just the saddest story we've seen in pro wrestling. And obviously you can't have any too much thoughts on what he was doing out here in these streets. You know what I mean? Because we've seen the text, we've seen what the people have come forward. And it was almost like he was kind of given a chance just a little bit. But then once more proof came out and he just started wilding out. So, I think this is the last we've seen of Velveteen Dream in professional wrestling.
Yeah, that's...
it's that thing that Terry Hulk Hogan spoke about earlier. Like you mess up once, okay, but you keep going. It's like, okay, this is no longer becomes a pattern or a trend. This is just who you are. So yeah, that's the end of that dream. He has a whole new reality.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's not crazy, but it's one of those things where, of course, I love putting stories on things. We have no idea what he's going through, but I feel like this was something that he was building to as far as WWE was taken from him. And now he's, using other things to try to fulfill that. And now in doing that, he's essentially, because, if he had stayed kind of out of the law and the news for a while, and everything in the back end was cleaned up, then there was probably, because we've seen people taken back for far worse. So, I think, but again, you just never know. Maybe this is the rock bottom that he needs to hit in order to come back. And everybody likes a comeback story. So, we don't know.
Yeah, I just think with Dream, there's just some things that there are no coming back from. And you're like checking all the boxes, bro. Yeah, you know what I mean? Like you squandered everything. And I think him and the gimmick, it doesn't overshadow everything that he allegedly has done and has been. I don't think it justifies his return. I mean, he's checking all the boxes of like, harassment and drugs and, hard to work, like everything professionally and personally. And it's like, at this point, Velveteen Dream, we've moved on beyond you, and we've given your gimmick to Quincy, so it's okay.
There's that part.
We're gonna let Quincy handle it from here.
And Quincy was on last night.
And Quincy had a little vignette last night, and I was just like,
he did.
All right,
and the people were cheering for him.
The people were marking for it. Yeah.
They were cheering.
This is a question for JD. Did WWHR dive into his allegations and said he was clean? I don't know if that was the case. Then he wouldn't have been let go. Correct.
Well, they didn't say he was clean. They said they didn't have enough proof to be able to substantiate some of those things. So it's almost like, I'm not calling you guilty or I'm not calling you innocent. I just don't have enough to call you guilty, if that makes sense. So,
correct. It was one of those.
That was.
Yeah, like I don't know how your text messages from your phone is sent to this person and from your IG and from this and that, but just lay low. And then he just couldn't get out of his own way.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's just one of those things that he
Yeah.
couldn't get out of his own way, and
Yeah.
we see he still can't.
Right.
Now, before we move on we have one story and one question, since the chat is so lively. And Gerard, you actually posted it into our group chat, so I want everybody in the chat to answer. So we had WWE with the question: who has the best entrance music in WWE history? So you guys in the chat, please comment. Cardi B on Twitter said, "I lied. She has Steel, Eddie Guerrero." So y'all let us know while we're talking about this last story, which is Halloween Havoc coming back. What do you guys think about that?
I mean, is Chucky going to be involved in it again? Will we see another Chucky Braun Breaker type of situation? Listen, I'm all for these special one-offs. I think that if we can't make it a premium live event, or I guess a standard live event, whatever you call it in NXT cases, then it's cool that we can have it on these Tuesdays, similar to what the theme shows that AEW does. So I'm all about it, and it gives creative a chance to do something different. Obviously, you have the Halloween theme, and as a wrestling traditionalist, it always takes me back to old WCW when it was the IP of them with the Halloween Havocs. So I really enjoy it, and I can't wait to see what happens.
Yeah, I think it's going to be great. NXT has done that very, very well. And again, from using Shotzi in 2020 to now this partnership they had with Chucky last year, I would imagine Chucky would be back since the season premiere of season 2 is happening in October. So, USA, I'm sure, will cross promote that very, very well. What I'm really interested to see is how much closer we move to this black and gold iteration of NXT by Halloween Havoc. Now, by then, of course, we've passed When Worlds Collide. So I'm intrigued to see how many NXT UK folks will already be engrafted into what we know as NXT. I think this is going to be interesting to watch. A lot of possibilities and no telling what they'll do. So I think it's going to be great. I think it's going to be great.
And I think with that too, with the possibility of the return, then I think for Halloween, NXT is going to come dressed as the black and gold NXT. That's going to be their costume for that year, and they're going to keep it on forever. And they're just going to keep it on.
Fun.
They're going to just keep going, and I'll go back to that. Okay, I got to work with Chucky and all. Well, congrats on surviving,
nice.
JD. Yeah,
wow,
thanks for surviving that.
A lot.
Yeah. I'll play with Chucky. I don't do that.
Yeah, I don't deal with Halloween. I don't deal with any of it. But JD also said Triple H has the best entrance music. Who do you guys think?
There was a really good quote from Bobby the Brain Heenan. I think like Hulk Hogan was coming out one time to Real American, because I know everyone's going to say Hogan, Real American. And then Heenan goes, "That's my second favorite song." And then Monsoon goes, "I'm almost afraid to ask, what's your favorite?" And then Heenan says, "Well, all the rest are tied." Which is just good. Bobby the Brain Heenan just, that's my second favorite song. And then Monsoon asks him, "What's your favorite?" He's like, "All the rest are tied." So Hogan's is all the way on the bottom when it comes to heel Heenan. So I really enjoy that. But I think the best entrance that I just absolutely part for is probably it got to be Shawn Michaels, man. It got to be Shawn Michaels. You just hear it. He comes out. I think it was like the first wrestling theme in the modern era to like in our era, that pop was almost just as loud as Hogan's. You know what I mean? And he comes out.
Sean Sexy Boy.
And he flexes, he comes out, and then everyone does the HBK stretch. Come on, we was all over the playgrounds doing the HBK stretch with the fake fireworks behind us and stuff. I mean, it was just like Shawn Michaels made a lunge and flexing cool, bro. You know what I mean? And I would say that over Austin and the glass breaking, because I know once you heard that glass, that was your ass. But you couldn't really you couldn't emulate Austin's entrance like at the playground. You know what I'm saying? Because what are you going to stand on and all that? But HBK was just so cool. You could super kick somebody without like hurting your ass by doing a stunner on the grass. So I think HBK is probably like one of the dopest. G.
It's interesting, but the question was the best entrance music. versus the best entrance. So it's interesting
Look at
because
Gerard being the journalist that he is.
I'm
The
that
question
guy.
Was
I'm that guy. So
You are right, though.
If
You are
we're
right.
talking
Points
about
off
the
for me.
best
Points off.
music, you know, that's a tough one because I mean you got to think about how people reacted, what people
Right.
remember. So obviously you have to consider The Rock's music. You have to consider Austin. You have to consider DX. I mean, the DX, you know, these are the themes that people remembered they were talking about. And again, you know, if you're looking at the first 3 seconds when that thing hits, do people recognize it or not?
Right.
That I think is your real question with that. Now, if we're talking about in terms of musicality, I think obviously that switches. If we're talking modern era, probably the ones that stick out to me the most, Shinsuke's, because people sing that. I mean, look at how, you know, look at
It
how
turns into a
OI
rave.
it is. And the way people respond to it. I mean, again, people were singing this theme song, you know, they were singing it. You could even argue the theme song for Bobby Roode, the Glorious theme song. Oh my gosh. People sung that. That was great, and it was incredible.
That was so. What did they do
and,
with them now?
And I
glorious,
exactly. I hate what happened to that. I happen to love the Undisputed Era theme song as well. I thought that one was pretty hot, and I love Finn's theme song too. Like but again, if it's anything that somebody can sing to or in some way replicate, then it becomes super memorable. And I would say those. And again, we're talking WWE history, so I'm trying to keep it very specific to that, since that was
Professor Bonner, I would like a mulligan. I would like a chance to retest, please. You brought the paper back to me with a bunch of red marks on it and say, please answer the question that's asked. I mean, if it's gonna be
with that look too of like disappointment, like to raise his voice at all, like that look like damn.
I mean, number one on the list, folks, has got to be Mr. Thugonomics. You can't see me himself, John Cena.
That's
tough. The music. That's the music. And he had not one but two of them joints back to back. Because you know, usually when you switch music, the one in the middle is kind of mid, then it gets good again. But I mean, the Doctor of Thugonomics was ill. Then he came out with You Can't See Me with the MOP sample. Shouts to my guy Jake Uno. I believe Jake Uno is the one who produced it. Jake One, if you will, is the one who produced it, trademark for his verse as well. John Cena's cousin. But as soon as you hear them horns, something's gonna happen. It's gonna be cheers, it's gonna be boos, and then it end up being cheers again because we appreciate John Cena. And it comes, I mean, for goodness sake, there's the John Cena meme where the unexpected John Cena done by my good homies down at Z104 in Norfolk, Virginia. Shaggy, what up? You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? Yeah, 757, what up? Stand up, you know what I'm saying? And like, you know, with the Z Morning Shoot, doing that. Man. And I mean, it's a meme. Like, it's absolutely amazing what it is. So how about you, TK? I'm sure it's gonna be Bret Hart or Edge or Trish Stratus, somebody Canadian.
Those were good though.
Yeah,
the Quebecers
is good. They're actually, in not creating, but in reposting the question, I too failed myself because the first person that came to mind was Bray Wyatt. In general, in the whole experience.
Both of those themes were crazy.
Yeah, it's just like I've seen Bray Wyatt like in like 3 or 4 different locations. I think 2 in Canada, one here, and just seeing everybody like cell phones up, and it was just it was an experience. So those are the 2 that come to mind. But like WWE history, yeah, it's hard. That is definitely a hard one. But we do have some other people. So we have Melina from Sammy, also Hit Row. Nikki says Stephanie McMahon, Candice Michelle, Tasha Steele, Taya Valkyrie. I actually also like AJ Styles. I remember when his hit, it was like I could download it and for a workout.
Oh yeah.
But I don't necessarily know if it's of all time, but it's still like Usos is good too. When they
Yes.
switched over to where they are now, or
Yeah.
what they are now. So
That head of the
Kevin
table
also says
goes
Kelly,
too.
Kelly.
That Roman Reigns.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
goes.
yeah.
Woo.
Roman got the big final boss theme. You know what I mean? Like,
Yes.
Who's doing the new WWE music now? Because I know CFO is
CFO
Def
is.
Rebel.
I don't even know who's doing it now. Yeah, I'm not
I think
sure.
it's Def Rebel
'Cause
now.
CFO had a strong run. They had a really strong run.
Exactly. But then, like, I know the new guys did Romans, and that was their first one where I was like, all right, there was in the bag for that one. Yeah, like that was Final Boss. Big wrestling music vibes, man. I love wrestling music. It's real.
I love
dope,
wrestling music as well.
You know, I enjoy it. As somebody who bought. Yeah, but that was just like more like Whom the Bell Tolls, whatever. And Jim Johnson freaked it and like remixed it and all that. So
He
you know,
killed.
I mean,
But I think takers would fall more under the experience, like TK was talking about.
Yeah.
Up there with HBK and all of that.
Does anybody remember Aaliyah's? I don't even.
Sorry, Sammy. I don't remember
I think
that
you're just
at all.
dropping names now, Sammy.
I don't remember hearing Aaliyah's song when she won the titles on Monday because I was too busy screaming at my television at that decision. Like, what is this? What is happening? Why wasn't it Io Sky and Dakota Kai? Why did they bring them back to lose to Aaliyah and Rachel? Don't call me Rodriguez Gonzalez.
Yeah.
Oh, it's Rodriguez now, right? It's Rodriguez now. Rodriguez, or is it Gonzalez?
Yeah.
It's Rodriguez now.
Rodriguez,
Okay, yeah, that's right. Rodriguez, don't call me Gonzalez. Okay, yeah, there we go. Thank you, Nikki, for salting the wound. Nikki's like, I told y'all, my effers. I told y'all.
Do you? I know we said one. Or these were the two last stories. However, I mean, just for Gerard, we might want to do this story. He's in the box, but you might want to bring him out of the box.
Are you sure?
Okay.
Oh, this one.
Oh, Rick.
So, okay. So we all remember the final match of the Nature Boy, Ric Flair. And in the match, and it's funny because that Monday afterwards, I told you guys in my disgust that when he was outside of the ring, he has this one moment where he clutches his heart like he's having a heart attack. And he does this to then turn around and poke his opponent in the eye. Well, he's finally come out and said, that wasn't a good idea. He told the New York Post, he says, quote, I did that on my own. I told the referee to tell Jeff Jarrett to slow down. And so in doing that, that was an audible to get everybody back on the same track. So basically his idea of faking a heart attack was so that he could, in the words of Clubhouse, reset the room.
Is Clubhouse even a thing still?
About 3 people are on there.
Yeah.
I at this point, we knew it was in bad taste because we were all afraid because it looked like he could have a heart attack. But he did it because basically things were moving too fast for the 73-year-old. So, yeah, that's what we'll do. We'll fake a heart attack outside the ring while we're bleeding. And we'll get the pace back on that way. Yep. Put him back in the box.
Wow.
Put him back in the box.
Back in the box. Oh, goodness.
Can you bring that picture up real quick? Because I like Bret Hart's face in the back. Like,
but look at Scarlett.
Bret's like, really, fam? And then look at Scarlett like, is my man serious over here, dog?
Right.
Oh my God.
And
Ric
this is
Flair.
the moment where he's telling people, yeah, I really hope I made you guys happy. I don't remember half the match, but I hope I made you happy. Yeah.
Everyone's like, please stop. Please stop. What's going on?
Golly.
Oh my goodness. Oh,
well, here we are.
Big shouts to Red Fox. You know what I'm saying? I'm sure he made Red Fox very proud with the fake heart attack. And hopefully we get a spot in Ric Flair's last match. We see what he fakes for the next one.
There, we could be announcing. But shout out to Bobby, Ron, JD, Nikki, Sammy, Kay, Frederick Willis, Ron, Anthony. Thank you guys for hopping in the chat. Definitely appreciate your comments.
It was live. I loved it.
It was, JD is definitely on the Kane train. With that being said, Kane, where can everybody find you?
Yes, unfortunately, you can follow me at Kane McCoy, CAINMCCOY. I might post and do a wave check. Who knows? Wave check.
And don't forget to tag Nikki, Matt Riddle, Triple H, John Cena,
Dewdrop,
and
Nikki Ash.
Dewdrop.
Just the whole just thread. Everything.
Oh gosh, that is awesome. That is awesome.
Oh gosh. And Professor Bonner, where can everybody find you?
You can find me at Bonnerfied on all of the socials. Of course, you can check out Southern Honor on IWTV. Uh-oh, what happened? Oh, Kane doesn't follow back. Oh.
Who's that on follow back?
Nikki. Mm-hmm.
What'd you follow? Oh, Nikki followed me?
Oh, you didn't
see.
Even
My
know
confusion is,
I
thought I had Nikki blocked, so I got the wrong person blocked. Okay.
Wow.
I was like, I'm gonna block this phone.
Wow.
No, I'm gonna check out right now. But I ain't been on IG though like that though. I ain't been on IG like that though.
Wow.
Because I've been away from social media. But I'm coming back on social this weekend for the post show.
Wow.
Wow. Yeah, we were at WoW on Friday. It was dope.
Oh my God.
Sorry, Professor Bonner. Where can everybody find you?
You can find me at Bonnerfied. SHW's on IWTV. You can check out all things Battle Slam, doing commentary for that on Fight TV. And you can check out things from Championship District Wrestling on YouTube and our Nightmare Factory stuff as well on YouTube.
Thank you. Oh, there's the follow. There's the follow.
There we go.
There
Hashtag
you go,
follow back. Is the screen on there? Is it? Why ain't it shining like that? Why ain't it shining? You see that?
Yeah, it's follow.
You see it? You saw it said followed, right?
Look at those pictures. We see you, Nikki. Okay.
I know. You see the joint.
So Kay did.
Nikki's in Tennessee. Hey, shout out to Tennessee State Tigers. What up? Wait, is Tennessee State the Tigers or is that Jackson? Sorry. Anyway.
Kane did mention we are going to have some pay-per-view after shows. So we are going to be doing All Out. We're going to be doing what else are we going to be doing?
Clash,
All
right?
Out, Clash. And we may do NXT. So it's possible. Other than that, definitely check out all our articles. We had some really great articles. We had some really great articles that popped off today. So definitely check out our website, www.talkpod.com. And definitely
everybody follow Nikki.
Sheesh. Wow.
Everybody go and follow our senior writer, Nikki. Will you need to stop showing your page, Nikki?
Plug alert! Plug alert!
Say what?
Plug alert! You know what I'm saying?
I don't know.
Slaying up this motherfucker. Look at that. Slaying up this bitch.
Oh my God.
Oh God.
Get it?
Wow.
Plug alert.
Wow.
Everybody say follow Nikki.
I don't even know what else to say. Make sure you follow everything at WW Talk Pod. Follow me on everything. Thank you guys for watching WWT Live. Wow. Thank you for watching everything at WWT Live. You can follow me on everything at TK Trinidad. We are here Monday, Wednesday, Fridays, 3 p.m. Pacific time, 6 p.m. Eastern. I think we're locking this in for the foreseeable future. So here we are. On that note, thank you for watching Women's Wrestling Talk, the #1 women's wrestling show on the planet. Ciao, y'all.
Women's Wrestling Talk, the #1 women's wrestling show on the planet.